Want to wreck everything that comes your way and not have to worry about swapping weapons to destroy everybody with different elements? Well, today I'm going to show you my super duper superwoman build. This is LaserBolt and welcome to today's video, guys. Today I want to share with you guys a build that's going to have you guys flying through the content really good. Now this particular build, I'm going to give it to non-Novic players. It's going to be mostly for players who are frequent to the game or who are more experienced in the game, as due to the fact that this build is primarily focusing on having every single element on your weapon when you're shooting, and also focusing on doing a ton of damage. You are going to be a little bit squishy, so I suggest if you are not a pro and not experienced, this build might not feel too comfortable for you guys, but if you are a pro and experienced, this build is going to make every content super duper easy. Now, before we dive in, I have a question for you guys. What is your favorite element in Borderlands? Let me know in the comment section down below. Guys, don't forget, we stream it daily on Twitch. If you guys haven't stopped by and checked this out, make sure you guys do. We have a lot of really fun time over on the stream, so make sure you guys stop by and hang out. So I'll see all of you guys over there. So what makes this build extremely powerful are the weapons, the damage output, and of course the addition of being able to use every single element just using one weapon only. That is what makes this build extremely powerful and great. But with all that being said, let's take a look at the loadout and take a look at the skill tree on what you're going to need in order to put this build together. Alright, so now let's dive into the skill tree, guys. We're going to be using every tree. We're going to be using the green one, the blue one, and the orange one. Let's start off with the first one, which is the brawler tree. For this one, guys, we're going to be dumping 3 points into personal space. Personal space is going to allow us to do more damage the closer we are to enemies. The closer we are, the more damage we're doing. The less closer we are, the less damage we're doing. Now, for our skill tree that we're picking up from our class mod, it's clarity. It's going to allow us to regenerate health. The lower the health is, the more powerful the regeneration is going to be. Really important to give us that nice survivability. This is a good one if you want to dump a little bit more points here. If there's something that you want to tweak, you're more than welcome to dump a couple points here. It's going to help you with that survivability aspect, even though with the way I have it set up right now, if you shouldn't be going down if you are an experienced player. You should be going good with the booster packs. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the Fist of the Element. So for the Fist of the Element, guys, we're picking up 5 points into Anima. There's a static effects, which is going to increase your damage over time. And action skill status effect will deal further incendiary damage or increase the damage of incendiary, shock, and basically any element that you're using on her. It's going to get increased and multiplied. Then we're going to be doing 1 point into steady hand. I don't believe weapon handling and accuracy is extremely important for this particular build, as we are using a lot of weapons that don't require a lot of accuracy. We're not using a hand cannon or anything like that. It's mostly weapons that are just going to be spammy, and weapon handling and accuracy are quite not that important. Then we're dumping 5 points into infusion. It's going to convert a portion of the damage that is dealt by Amara into her action skill element. So whatever element you have selected in her action skill, it's going to get converted to that. Then, guys, we have 5 points into Tempest. Amara deals increased elemental damage. Shock damage is further increased. Really important. I would probably maybe reduce like 1 point from here and probably put it somewhere else, but it's still actually a really good one to pick up. Then we have 1 point into Dread. What this is going to do, it's going to increase the gun damage that we do when an enemy is grasped. Really important because we are grasping a lot of enemies, and we want to make sure that damage is always further increased. Then we're dumping 3 points into Indiscriminate. Basically what this is going to do, it's going to ricochet the bullets off of the enemy, allowing them to go and bounce off to other enemies, which is really, really good. And we're dumping 1 point into Deep Well, just increasing our magazine size. We're dumping 2 points into Categorize. What this is going to do, it's going to allow us to, basically it's going to trigger an elemental effect on an enemy. When the enemy dies, it goes and deals her a 28 element damage. So it's just really good for mobbing and really good for ad control. Then we're doing 2 points into Sustainment. What this is going to do, it's going to allow us to gain lifesteal whenever we deal an elemental damage, giving us a little bit more of survivability, making it a little bit tanky, but not extremely. Remember, this is a pretty squishy build, so you will probably be going down when within this build. As long as you learn how to play with this build, you should be perfectly fine. Then we're picking up 1 point from our class mod, and last but not least, we're getting Forceful Expression. We're going to deal bonus elemental damage, and it's going to be all dependent on the guns, the action skill element that we have. Then, actually, from this tree, guys, we are picking up a couple things. We're picking up pretty much Ties That Bind, which is pretty much a requirement. Allure, which is a singularity. This actually pulls the enemies within the grasp, and it's really good for ADSing. And we are also soul fire. It's just to turn our stuff into incendiary damage. This is gonna be changing depending on what content you're playing. Then, guys, last but not least, we're going to the Mystical Assault Tree. For the Mystical Assault Tree, guys, we're jumping 1 point into Do Harm. And what this is going to do, it's going to allow us to create Rush. Basically, if you haven't been playing the game or you're new to the game, Rush is pretty much something you could stack up. The more Rush you get, the more damage, the more benefits you'll be getting. So, for those of you who are familiar with the game, this is just an action skill that's going to allow you to consume Rush, and it's going to be very effective. Then, guys, we have 3 points into Reload Speed, Weapon Swap Speed, and Mode Switch Speed. We're just picking this one because we are going to be cycling through weapons as we're fighting out enemies. Then we have 1 point into Violent Tapestry. Once again, we're trying to get that rush stack so we can apply that status effect change, which is going to be really good. Then we have 5 points into Alacrity. What we're going to do, it's going to increase our reload speed, and for every stack of rush consumed, that reload speed is going to be increased. After we consume that rush stack, though, we get bonus increased damage for a few seconds, which is the reason why we want to be consuming that and stacking up as much rush as we want. Then we have Transcend. We're going to be increase our accuracy and critical hit damage. Not extremely important for the accuracy, but for the critical hit, it actually is. Then we have 5 points into Restless. Once again, increasing our action skill cooldown rate, is bringing it down to plus 25. 1 point into Ascendant. All action skill augments gain increased effect, which is really important. 1 point into Laid Bare, which is going to take enemies take increased damage from all sources, which is going to be extremely important based on the loadout that we have. 3 points into Wrath. It's going to increase our gun damage 100%. We need this one. The more gun damage we have, the better it's going to be. 2 points into Remnant. What this is going to do is that when we kill someone and we shoot an enemy, it's going to shoot a humming projectile to other enemies. Really important, and it's actually quite a lifesaver. Last but not least, guys, we're putting 1 point into Avatar. Amara's action skill can be activated when while it's in cooldown, allowing us to not only fake face grasp, but also normal face grasp, and still apply the damage and the status that we want to apply within our loadout. So that pretty much covers the skill tree. Now let's take a look at our loadout and what ties everything together. So for our loadout, we are running the cost-effective optimized, so the OPQ. Really important, guys. This is a brand new weapon. It is extremely a monster. This weapon is really, really good. We're running it with the alignment while under 50% health, deal 150 bonus radiation damage. Reason why we're running this alignment and not the 300 one when enemies are above 90 health is because this build is primarily used because she's our super girl. Remember, she's supposed to have every single element available to her. This is a kinetic weapon, but we are getting the radiation damage, and I'll explain how we're actually being picked this one up. That's, guys, we are also have of course the Sandhawk, amazing weapon, especially for bossing. This build is really good for mobbing and bossing as well. So you want to make sure you have this one with the same anointment. And then we have the Redundant Reflex. It's pretty much a brainstormer, but with corrosive damage. Really, really powerful here. This is a monster to have and one that I highly recommend. We also have the Yellow Cake, and then I also have some other weapons that I have from other characters. So if this video does reach 200 likes, I will be uploading the save file for you guys, so you guys can go ahead and download this and play with these weapons and with the build. The reason why we are running these anointments and not running the 300 one is because we are running the front loader. Now the front loader, what it does is going to bring our health down to 60% max health. That's going to allow us to proc these, which is going to be the radiation, and it's going to allow us to proc all the radiation damage. So this weapon right here is a kinetic weapon, but it is also a radiation weapon because we're always under that 60% health. Really important. In addition to that, guys, when our action skill ends, which is when we're going to be fake face grasping, we are going to be applying cryo. So not only does our weapon has kinetic, but it also has cryo damage and radiation damage, which is really important. And if that was enough, we're also going to be picking up corrosive damage from our grenade, which is it's pissed. Now I have a hex grenade as well with this one, so you guys are with the same anointments. So whatever grenade you run here, it doesn't really matter as long as it has the anointment of corrosive, so you could have that multiplicative elemental damage on all the weapon all across. Now, for our class mod, we're running the Facerker. Really, really good one to pick up, guys. Highly recommend this. We are running this with really bad flavor text, 21 critical weapon damage, 26 weapon magazine damage, and 51 Atlas weapon critical hit damage. These are not that great, except for the Atlas weapon damage. That one's the only one that's really good. But either that, you definitely would like to see something like, since this is a AR, assault rifle damage, or something that gives you a little bit more weapon damage, as much weapon damage as you possibly can. That would be the best way to go about it. Now, for our artifact, we are running the Victory Rush. Now, I did have the wrong Victory Rush when making this video. You're going to want the one that's not giving you damage with cryo, but you want the one that gives you just damage overall in general. That is the one you want to go with here. And that pretty much covers the loadout. So how exactly do you want to play with this build? Well, in order for you to play with this build, it's super easy, guys. What you want to do is lob your grenade. You want to make sure you fake face grasp so you can apply that status effect. You can apply all the elements to you. Then you could actually face grasp and shoot the bubble, and it's going to apply the damage, every single element when you're shooting the enemy. Really, really powerful and extremely potent. Definitely, you guys got to try out this build. Let's rate this video to 200 likes so you can download the save file and test it out. Let me know what you guys think of the build. If there's anything you guys would change, please let me know in the comment section down below. Once again, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys on the next video.